Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Monday, September 18th, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Monday in Major League Baseball. First up, we see an afternoon game between the Cleveland Guardians and the Kansas City Royals. Brady Singer and Cal Quantrill are your starters. Now, I know Brady Singer's not in the best form when you look at his last couple of games, but overall this season, he has been a lot better at Kauffman Stadium, where on the road, he's got a 3-7 record and an ERA above 7, but at Kauffman, a 5-4 winning record and an ERA of 4.35 and 91 innings of work. I think Singer bounces back here, and even though the Guardians are a team that we know has hit righties better than lefties this season, the Royals actually have better numbers than the Guardians do against righties in the last month in OPS and isolated power. And the Guardians, we know, have a very low strikeout rate against righties in the last 30 days, 19.5%, but Kansas City only at 21.9%, so really not that much steeper. I don't really love Cal Quantrill, even though he's pitching better, since his injury. He's actually in pretty good form. When you look at the expected numbers, you look at the fact that he doesn't really miss a lot of bats. I worry about that on the road here. Kauffman, his third straight road outing. Give me the Kansas City Royals here on the money line. Next up, we see the Minnesota Twins taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Joe Ryan for Minnesota, no official starter for Cincinnati. Joe Ryan's not pitched well on the road this season, where he's got an ERA at 4.67 in 69 and a third innings, giving up 16 home runs along the way. That's been the one issue in his game, in his career, as far as the home run ball. And now you're pitching in the second most hitter-friendly ballpark in Great American, facing a tough Reds team, fighting for a playoff spot in the National League. And I know the Reds bullpen in the last month doesn't have the best expected numbers, but the ERA is still at 3.14. So if this is a bullpen game, I think Cincinnati does a good enough job here to, for the bats really to do the talking and to win this game in the end against Joe Ryan. So give me the Cincinnati Reds here on the money line at Great American Ballpark. Next up, the New York Mets taking on the Miami Marlins. Jose Butto and Braxton Garrett are your starters. I know the Marlins, similar to the Reds, are fighting for their playoff rights in the National League wildcard race. However, this Mets team has played the role of spoiler as of late. They took 3 of 4 against the Diamondbacks at Citi Field this week, and then this weekend they took at least the final game against the Cincinnati Reds on Sunday in that 3-game series. And the Mets actually have really good numbers against lefties in the last month offensively, facing a starter in Braxton Garrett, a lefty who has struggled at Lone Depot Park this year. Most Marlins starters have actually pitched a lot better at Lone Depot, but Garrett is one of those exceptions. And he's facing a Mets team like I talked about, top 15 in baseball in OPS against lefties in the last month, top 10 in isolated power, high walk rate, low strikeout rate. Butto's actually been pretty solid so far, a sub-4 ERA for him this season. Give me the New York Mets here on the money line on the road. Next up, the Chicago White Sox taking on the Washington Nationals. Mike Clevinger and Yohan Adon are your starters. Adon has not pitched well at Nationals Park this season, where he has an ERA above 8. Mike Clevenger's actually been pretty solid in the second half of the season. I didn't really like how he's pitching in the first half, but he's got a 3.61 ERA now overall, and in his last 5 games, he's given up 3 earned runs or fewer in 3 of those 5 starts. So making some improvements. The White Sox are a decent 2-2 in his last 4 games. The strikeout numbers have definitely improved. 14 strikeouts his last 13 innings of work. The control's also been better, giving up no walks his last 3 games. I'll take a stab here with the White Sox on the money line on the road. Next up, we see the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Atlanta Braves. Zach Wheeler and Kyle Wright are your starters. Give me the over in this game. We've seen the Braves playing some high-scoring games, even when they're not the team scoring the runs as of late, as the Marlins put up 15-plus on them on Sunday, and then 11 the day before, 9 the game before that. But the Braves are facing Zach Wheeler, who they just got to last start for Wheeler. 6 earned runs, 3 home runs against Atlanta, and a 7-6 Braves win. Kyle Wright on the other side faced this Phillies lineup in a 7-5 Phillies win in that series, and it was 3 innings of 6 earned run baseball for Kyle Wright against those Phillies, and both teams are crushing righties in the last month. We know the Braves have done so all season, so give me the over here in Phillies Braves. Next up, the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. Freddie Peralta and Adam Wainwright are your starters. To me, this is a pitching mismatch, as Peralta's in good form and is pitching well this season with a 3.79 ERA. Wainwright's been one of the weaker starting pitchers in the National League with that 4-11 record, almost 8 ERA on the season. He's been a little bit better as of late, like his last start against the Orioles, but before that he gave up 6 earned runs and 4 homers against the Braves, so very inconsistent numbers for Wainwright. The Brewers, I think, have the better starting pitcher, the better lineup, and the better bullpen, so give me Milwaukee here on the money line. Next up, the Boston Red Sox taking on the Texas Rangers. Cutter Crawford and Jordan Montgomery are your starters. Red Sox have not played too well on the road this season, and Cutter Crawford, he's been very inconsistent, hard to read. His last start was decent against the Yankees. He only went 4 2/3 innings, though. His control's been off quite a bit. 7 walks allowed his last 2 starts combined. And before that Yankees outing, he gave up 5 earned runs and 6 earned runs in the previous 2 starts. One of those on the road at Tropicana Field, the other one at home against the Astros. It's not going to be an easy matchup for him here against a Rangers team fighting for their lives in the American League wildcard race. And Jordan Montgomery, pitcher who's pitched well at home this season. His last start against the Blue Jays on the road was 7 innings of shutout baseball. The Red Sox have not hit lefties very well this season, so I think Montgomery pitches well. I think the Rangers grab the W. Give me Texas on the money line. Next up, we see the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Houston Astros. John Means and Justin Verlander are your starters. John Means' first start back at the major league level wasn't his best. We saw him give up 3 earned runs and 2 home runs against the Cardinals in a 5-2 Cardinals win. I worry about him in this spot as a lefty facing an Astros team. We talk about it all season. They have crushed left-handed pitching. In the last 30 days, they're number 3 in baseball in ISO, number 1 in team OPS. They have a very low strikeout rate at 18.8% as a team. Verlander's pitching well this season, and I think the Astros win this game on the run line. Give me the Astros laying those 1.5 runs. Next up, the Seattle Mariners taking on the Oakland Athletics. Brian Wu and J.P. Sears are your starters. I say take a shot here with the home dog, plus the 1.5 runs, maybe sprinkle on the money line as well. Brian Wu's not been great on the road this season, where his ERA is at 4.5. J.P. Sears is actually in really good form in the month of September thus far. 3 starts against the Angels, Blue Jays, and Astros. 3 solid lineups against right-handed pitchers this season. 17 innings of work, a 1.59 ERA in those games, and 3 victories, 3 outright victories for the Athletics for Sears in September. I'm going to take it here plus the 1.5 runs at home. Next are the Colorado Rockies taking on the San Diego Padres. Ty Blach and Michael Wacha are your starters. I'm going to go with the Padres here. I think Wacha bounces back from his rough start in his last game against the Dodgers, where he gave those 7 earned runs against Los Angeles, but that was on the road. Now Wacha's pitching at Petco Park, where he's been a lot better this season with a 2.55 ERA. He has a much easier matchup against a Rockies team that's not only struggling, this season against right-handed pitchers in general, but it's going to be their first game after that homestand at Coors Field. No days off in between. We know the Rockies offense has suffered on the road this season. I think Wacha pitches 6-7 strong innings. I think the Padres get to Blach, who, the Padres have hit lefties pretty well this year. Give me the Padres on the run line. And the final game for Monday's card in Major League Baseball, the Detroit Tigers taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Eduardo Rodriguez and Emmett Sheehan are your projected starters. It's not my favorite game on the board. Emmett Sheehan's been a bit inconsistent lately. We saw him pitch really well in his last outing. It was an appearance out of the bullpen where it was 3 innings of 1 hit, 5 strikeout baseball against the Mariners. But before that, his last start against the Nationals, he gave up 5 earned runs and 2 home runs in that game. Now, the Dodgers bats backed him up in that one. It was an 8-5 Dodgers win anyway, and they have so for most of the season. The Dodgers are 4-1 in his last 5 starts, so I think the Dodgers get to Eduardo Rodriguez here. I would lean towards Los Angeles laying the 1.5 runs. Rodriguez struggled at Dodger Stadium last year. He's not in great form right now. His last 11 1/3 innings, giving up 7 earned runs and a home run with 9 walks to go with it. Give me the Dodgers here laying the 1.5 runs to end the night. And that's it. Those are the games for Monday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.